Hi everyone, welcome to Shannon's online yoga studio. I'm Shannon and today we'll be doing a 20-minute yin practice. So if you have props at home, you may want to grab a bolster, 2 blocks, a blanket. They could come in handy. Don't feel like you have to use them, but maybe just have them nearby. So if this is your first time doing yin, just know that we'll be holding the poses for about 2 to 5 minutes each. The goal of yin is to work more into the connective tissues. So as we start and we hold the poses, the body will naturally begin to open. So when you first get into the pose, give yourself time to adjust. Make sure that we're feeling okay. The goal is to work into stillness as we hold. So make sure when we start the pose, you find a place where you can sustain and hold for those few minutes. I would suggest starting at about 60% intensity just to make sure we don't go too far, too fast. And then just allow the body to open as we move along. So we'll begin in deer pose. If you wouldn't mind taking your right leg in front as we face the top of the mat and try to break about a 90-degree angle between the knee and the hip. So we're looking to have the shin to the top of the mat. And then just check in to see if there's any uncomfortable sensation in the knee. So if we're feeling anything in the knee, maybe try to bring the right foot in towards the body. If we need a little bit more, you can take the foot further away from the body. And then as far as the left leg goes, it's really wherever feels most comfortable to you. So I tend to start with my knee a little bit more in line with the hip so it's back a little further, but if that doesn't feel good, we can move it up. Then once you're there, we'll square off the heart to the top of the mat. And for just a moment, think about rolling the front of the left hip forward and down as you start to draw the right hip back. So we're going to start to work into the outer edge of your right hip. Now once you get set up here, we'll just very slowly start to find a fold over the right leg. So again, as we fold, maybe think about taking the front of the left hip, bring it a little bit closer to the earth, and just see where you need to be. So if you're still in the hands and you're already feeling it, maybe this is where we stay. If you'd like, you can grab blocks, bring them underneath the elbows to deepen a little bit further, or maybe we take the elbows all the way down to the earth. So depending on where you're at, just start to let the head hang heavy, let the shoulders relax. And then just begin to breathe into this pose. And I find that when I do yin, closing the eyes helps me to turn inward a little bit more. And in this first pose of our practice, this may even be the first pose of your day, just start to notice where your mind is at. Start to arrive on your mat. Let go of the rest of your day. And really just start to feel the rhythm of your breath as it moves in and out of your body. And as we start to settle into stillness, allow your worries, your stress to melt away, bringing your awareness more into feelings of the body and the rhythm of your breath. Try to relax your forehead and your jaw. Let the shoulders melt away from your ears. Feel the weight of the legs getting even heavier. continue to breathe into the outer edge of the right hip just to help find some release. Give yourself about another 5 breaths in this pose. And then as you feel ready, very mindfully, very slowly, begin to stack the shoulders back over the hips. And then once you're there, take the hands behind the hips, and we'll just windshield wiper out the legs a few times here. So give yourself a little bit of movement through the hips, through the legs. Continue to let the legs be heavy. And then the next time your left leg falls to the back of your mat, we'll come into deer pose on the other side. So again, give yourself a moment to set up. Check in, make sure the hips and the knees aren't feeling any pain. And then square off in the hips as much as you can. So take the front of the right hip, feel like you're rolling it forward and down. Try to drag the left hip behind you. And then again, as you're ready, we'll just begin to melt. So start to walk the hands in front of the body. And if you find a place that's needing a little bit of extra love, hang out there for a minute. Take a few breaths. Allow yourself to open into that space. And then as you naturally open, as we hold the pose, then maybe start to make adjustments and move a little bit further. So again, as you start to settle in, notice if you need any props, blocks underneath the elbows. Maybe stay on the hands, or take the fold as far as your body allows in this moment. And then once you've found that sweet spot, really just allow yourself to breathe. Try to notice what you're holding on to. And on every inhale, breathe all of that in. And on every exhale, let all of that go. Check in to make sure that the legs are relaxed. The feet are just dangling. And the upper body's just melting over the left leg. The head hangs heavy. And you just allow yourself to surrender into this pose. And checking back in to see where your mind is at. If my voice interrupted a thought, it just means that your mind had started to wander. So just come back to your breath when that happens. Our brain is very used to doing. It's used to trying all the time. So it's not used to this stillness. As you continue to work through this practice, give yourself grace. But always come back to stillness. maybe check in to see if you need to make any minor adjustments here. If you notice the sensation in the left hip isn't as much as where you started, that's just because the body started to open. So sometimes it helps to check in, see if we're still at that 60%, and maybe take yourself a little bit deeper. And then settle back in. Relax and soften. You have about another 5 breaths on this side. And on your own time, very slowly begin to sit tall. We'll stack the shoulders over the hips. Take the hands back behind the hips, and then again, few very slow, mindful windshield wipers. I'm going to move you right into Dragonfly. So I would suggest that you stay how you are so that we can extend the legs away from one another so that the heels are touching down on the mat. I'm going to turn to the side just so I can show you how to set up some props, but maybe hang out. If you have props and you have some blocks and a bolster, one of the ways that you can set up is take one of the blocks at the tallest height. So this would be the shortest height of the block, this would be the medium, and this would be the tall. So take it to the tallest height and place it somewhat further away from your body. Take your second block and bring it in a little bit closer to your hips at that medium height. And then from here, you can just drape the bolster over the blocks. So once you're there, try to snuggle the hips up to the bolster. Really try to let the legs soften here. So sometimes we naturally tense up. Let the feet do their thing. Turn in, turn out, doesn't matter, but just make sure that they're relaxed. And then once you're there, we'll just start to melt into our Dragonfly. So starting to walk the hands forward. And if we have those props, you can turn the head to one side and just let the body rest on the bolster. So if you're there and you're comfortable, stay there, breathe, start to soften even more. If you notice that the bolster isn't available to you, maybe keep it there because at one point it might be. So just let your arms hang heavy, let the head hang heavy. And if you're feeling like you need more right now, you can remove the props in a couple different ways. You can just take the forehead to one block. That'll take you a little deeper, any height that works for you. Or you can remove the blocks completely and just start to take this fold to your deepest point. So again, give yourself some time, make whatever adjustments you need. And try to let every muscle relax once you get there. Close your eyes. And just enjoy the sensation in your body. On every inhale, feel where you're at. And then on every exhale, see if you can release from there just a little bit further. Check back in with the legs. Make sure that they're soft. Relax the shoulders. And melt a little bit more. Keep reminding yourself that in this moment there's nothing you need to do except for breathe. So let go of whatever thoughts may be popping into your head. And just be fully present in the moment. Check in to see if you need to make any adjustments with your props if you have them. Just allow yourself to deepen, to open a little bit further if the body is ready. So no force. Just let it happen naturally. But if we have the props, sometimes we have to make adjustments for it to happen naturally. So give yourself a moment. Maybe find a little bit more depth. And then come right back into your stillness. Take a deep breath in and a complete breath out. And then very, very slowly, we'll start to stack the shoulders back over the hips. And removing any props that you may have brought in front of you. And then if you are still facing the edge of your mat, turn to face either the front or the back of the mat and very slowly bring the feet together. We'll extend them straight in front of us and give them a little shake. Maybe let them rock to the right and the left, bounce the legs, whatever feels good. And then once you're there, really just let the legs relax. So a lot of times I'll kind of give them a little massage just to remind them to let go, that it's okay, that they don't have to try any longer. Let the feet relax. And we're going to come right into caterpillar. So let your arms just fall by your side. Let them get really heavy. I like to have my palms facing up just to make sure I'm not gripping or pulling on the mat, but it's whatever feels best for you. And then once you're there, just let the chin fall to the chest. So take a moment to notice how you're feeling here. Check in with the back of the neck and that space in between the shoulder blades. And if it's feeling a little bit tighter today, maybe this is where we stay. Just breathe into that area of the body. Let that relax. And if you're feeling like the body's looking for a little bit more, very slowly, we can start to let the body melt over the legs, walking the arms forward as we do so. The shoulders fall heavy. The head rests naturally. And you'll feel like you're coming into a fold that requires absolutely no effort on your part. But you'll feel that the body is changing. You'll feel that something is happening. So breathe into that sensation wherever it may be. And caterpillar works the entire back line of the body. So from the base of the feet, up the back of the calves, the hamstrings, through the lower back, up the spine, and all the way up to the crown of the head. So any area in that space could potentially need this pose. So wherever you're feeling this, breathe a little deeper into that area. And just taking a moment to direct the breath, noticing how it can change what the pose feels like for you. So on your next inhale, I'd like for you to feel like you're expanding into the lungs. Try to feel like you're creating more space in between the shoulder blades. Let the arms get even heavier. And then as you exhale, let the chin drop to the chest a little bit more. And then on your next inhale, breathe and expand into the ribs. And on your exhale, soften. And on your next inhale, really try to breathe into the belly, expand into the belly. See if we can create a little bit more space in the lower spine. And then on your exhale, see if we can melt just a little bit further into this pose. And then settle right back in. Finding gratitude in every breath. Reminding yourself that you're here, that you're alive, and that this is exactly where you're supposed to be in this moment. Give yourself one more full cycle of breath. And then continuing to let the head hang heavy, very slowly start to roll up one vertebra at a time. The arms are still heavy. The head will be the very last thing to lift. And then as soon as the shoulders are back over the hips, put a slight bend into the knees so that we bring the soles of the feet together, coming into butterfly. So always your option on where we place the feet. The closer in the heels are, the more we'll open up into the inner thighs. The further away the heels are from the body, the more we'll work into the outer edges of the hips. So I prefer to keep mine further away. My hips and my low back tend to get really tight, so you can make adjustments as needed. If you'd like, you can set up your props the same way that we did in Dragonfly. So one tall block, one medium block, and then bring the bolster. And then that way you can just let the body rest on the bolster again, turning your head to one side, or maybe just having it there in case one day we start to touch. You can remove the bolster and the block out of the way. And then you can just let your forehead rest on the block with the block resting on the feet. I would suggest, if it feels okay on the body, to just let gravity do its job. So sometimes the props actually kind of are a hindrance to us being able to move as far as we want. So taking this, just like we did as caterpillar, whether we have props or not, just start to let the body melt. So the head will hang heavy. You'll start to fold forward from the hips. And then find a comfortable place for your arms to be. So they can extend towards the top of your mat. You can take a light grip on the feet. If you have any knee issues or any hip issues, sometimes it feels nice to take the arms underneath the calves and then just let the hands rest lightly on the tops of the feet as well. So any of those options will work. And give yourself a moment to adjust, to settle in. And then just come back to your breath. Check in to see where the body is feeling this the most. And really try to send the breath to those areas of the body. Try to relax through the hips so that the knees can fall a little closer to the earth. Close your eyes. And just feel yourself in this moment. Let every muscle soften. See if your body allows you to move further without any effort. Give yourself about another 3 full cycles of breath here. And as you're ready, slowly rolling up, stacking the shoulders over the hips. And just meet me in an easy seat here. Crossing the legs, sitting on the knees, whatever you need to do in this moment. Find a comfortable place for your arms to rest. And close your eyes as you sit tall. Let the effects of the practice settle into the body. And take these with you as you move into your day. And on your next inhale, we'll sweep the arms high overhead. And on an exhale, we'll bring the hands together, heart center. Thank you so much for stepping onto your mat today, for sharing your strength, your grace, and your amazing energy. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.